Hello everyone, this is GM VAR AKOBIAN with 1000 GM, and I'm very excited to welcome you to our second tournament in St. Louis. And this is a GM norm tournament, and we're gonna have one long recap for each round. So this is gonna be the recap video for round number 1 of the GM tournament. So I will take a look at all 5 games played in this round, and the first game I want to show you guys is the game between GM Akshat Chandra and GM Raja Harshit. Let's take a look, guys. E4, C5. We have a Sicilian defense. And here Akshat is avoiding the main lines with D4 and plays bishop B5. Another very popular move, but it's not the most, I would say, the challenging one. Knight D7 played. Another option is, of course, bishop D7 you can play, but we have knight D7. Now, bishop A4, knight GF6, putting pressure on the pawn, castles. Yeah, if you take the pawn, it actually leads to a very sharp position. So after this, knight f6, d4, white is actually getting ahead in development. So it's going to be more pleasant for white to play this way. So he played e6, d3, bishop e7, c4. It's interesting. Now he's trying to play knight c3 and close the position. By looking at the clocks, I can tell that Chandra is prepared because he's not the fastest player out there, but he's just prepared here. And now we have here a6. Queen e2. Rook b8. Trying to prepare b5. And looks like the first move, actually. All these moves were played relatively quickly by Chandra, and now it's just his first move. He probably didn't prepare the move rook b8. Rook b8, it's not the most natural move. And okay, now knight d2. What is the idea behind this move? Is it trying to play f4? Because, I mean, you're really blocking your bishop. One option would have been good is if you play d4 here. d4 takes, knight takes d4, knight e5, bishop e3, f4, bishop e3, and basically you want to play rook ad1 next, and you know, relatively, you know, equal position. White has some center, but black's position is very solid here too. So I think this is how I like to play this way. It's a much better way to play, I think, than 92. I don't quite like this 92 move, but here the reaction was very interesting. Black can play knight here, knight e8, knight c7, and then try to play b5, you know, after doing these two preparatory moves. But he played here, b5. So essentially, Grandmaster Harshit decided to sacrifice a pawn. And let's see if he's going to have enough compensation. d5. Very interesting motif. Just give up a pawn just to get the center. e5. Knight e8. Takes on a6. Bishop a6. Bishop a6, putting pressure on d3. Knight f3. Knight c7. Rook d1. So black does have some compensation here because, you know, the center pawns are very active and they're controlling a lot of squares, and also you have a bishop on a6. But on the other hand, white is up a full pawn. Rook b4. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like this idea because, you know, later on there will be some issues with the rook being chased around. So I think, for example, a move like h6 would be fine, controlling the g5 square and then asking, you know, white to see what they're gonna do next. If they play bishop f4, yeah, then I don't mind doing this move because it's a tempo, you know. Then I can play knight b6. But he goes here, b3, knight b6, and actually this is again, this is inaccuracy now. Bishop c6. Grandmaster Chandra finds the best move, but he's taking a long time. It took him 16 minutes to play this. That's excessive thinking because now he's got 31 minutes left on his clock. And f6, and here black realizes, you know, whatever he does is actually a problem. This rook is actually going to get attacked now by bishop a3, and I mean d4 is an option, but knight e4, bishop here, and bishop comes back. It's just the extra pawn. Yeah, I mean you're really playing down down a pawn, so it's going to be very difficult. I think so. He played f6 and rook b1. See, he wanted to play the a3 move, but the thing is, timing is everything. And here, actually, you just play a3 immediately. You're attacking the rook. Rook cannot go back to b5 because the bishop will take it. If you go anywhere like g4, that's just terrible. But if you take queen c2, simply attacking the rook. Now rook cannot go back again. c3, b5, so I have to c4, just take. You can't take with a pawn, your queen is hanging. You have to take back with the bishop. And now bishop e3. Putting pressure on the knight. And yeah, this is going to be a big problem here. This rook on b3 is going to become a big problem. And now knight d2 idea is coming up to put pressure. So the best line is f3. Oh, sorry. f3, knight d2. Takes. And queen d6. Queen a5. So it leads to some position like this. Queen takes b6. Queen takes b6. Bishop b6, hitting the rook. 5 and knight c4. It's very important that you get to take the bishop. If you don't take the bishop, then black might have some decent compensation, but here actually you get to take it. So again, this a3 move was very strong, and most likely it gives white a decisive advantage. But Grandmaster Chandra played this move, and this is very slow, and now black is totally back in the game. a3 here. Okay, it's probably time to take the pawn anyway. Queen d6. a3. Rook g4. Bishop a4. Yeah, it's a quite complex position here, but it looks like just equality. Now I played a3, e4. Yeah, this is actually a good move because you cannot take on e4 because your queen is hanging. So you're forced to take. Yeah, and now, yeah, taking is actually just worse. Queen e5 apparently is the best move, but it's super complicated. So it's hard to play moves like this in this position. So takes. Took on b4. Knight a4. And now knight c4, because if you just retreat here, threatening mate on g7, and take on c7. Now, if trade of queens occurs, you just take back, queen g3. Again, super complicated game, but it looks like somehow it's just a balance here. So it's hard to tell. All right. So, but instead, yeah, this was very important moment here for Chandra, but he just took back, and now black is better. Again, still very complicated. Let's see here. I want to get back to the game. It looks like this is the game. Okay, takes. Knight c4 takes. And now here's bishop e5. That's a bad move. Ooh, allowing a protected pass pawn on c3. That's a tough one. So the best move is actually here queen e4. Takes. Take. Okay, bishop takes. And here actually, black does have a little bit of advantage, but it's not that much. It's not that much advantage here. Because, you have the pass pawn, the rooks are well placed. But he played bishop e5, c3, and now 2 minutes for Chandra, 10 minutes for Grandmaster Harshid, 95. Keeping the queens is good. Bishop e7, yeah, this is just going to be tough. Rook f5. Knight f6. Yeah, this is just a winning endgame. f3 is hanging. Had to sacrifice. Yeah, bishop d6, bishop f6, not even trading. e5, b4, knight takes b4. Yeah, knight e3. The point here is you might be like, oh, why can't he just take? But if he takes, simply there will be bishop e5 mate. Or you have to put a rook on g3, which is just not going to be good. So yeah, so that's why just 93 and Grandmaster Harshit started out with a victory with the block pieces. Tough loss for GM Chandra, but he's a very tough player, and I'm sure he'll bounce back in the next few rounds. So let's take a look at the next game of this round. The next game is the battle of the two Alexanders. Alexander Krechetov, FIDE master from Los Angeles area, and I am Kalekstein from the East Coast. Knight f3, d5, d4. So it's for Kalekstein, it's the first tournament. For Krechetov, he played in a previous edition. So we have the Semislav is chosen by black. There were other opening choices here as well, but Semislav. e3, knight b7, queen c2, bishop d6. So we get the main lines. And e5. Black can also play the move b6 and bishop b7. That's another option, but now it goes here, e5. Takes. This is all theory. I believe I even have a game in this line. Bishop b4. And now I will play the move a6. I mean, both players are playing very fast. I guess this was preparation for both of them. The reason you play a6 because if you take immediately, just knight takes and white is just slightly better because of the nice blockade. So at least trying to make it a little bit difficult. Takes. Yeah, then we put at least, we don't lose a tempo by taking immediately. We play a6 first. Okay, bishop g4, trading the bishops. Now rook c8, queen f5, g6, queen f4. Yeah, it's a roughly equal position. The d5 pawn is alone by itself, but it's going to be very, very hard to stop at h3. Knight df1, queen h4. Yeah, rook c2, queen h4. Because after rook c2, there is a threat. The threat is to take on f2. King takes f2 and just play knight e4. So let's say play queen h4 to stop it. Yeah, and then they offer a draw. I guess you can just simply go back. I mean, it's very, very difficult to do anything here. So black rooks are really active and creating lots of difficulties, and that's why players agree to a draw. Now, it's not the most exciting game, but it was a solid draw, and most importantly, both players got on the scoreboard. The next matchup was very interesting. I was very much looking forward to look at this game. There's a game between I am Mardov. You might be familiar with him because he played in a original tournament in July and it did quite well. I think he got 5.5 or 6 points in a tournament. So he had a really good tournament. But in this round, he had a tough game. He's playing a very strong Grandmaster Antipov, who has just crossed the 2600 and FIDE. So let's take a look. d4, knight f6, 46, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. Yeah, so we have the Ragozin defense. There's so many ways to go here. You can take on d5, you can play bishop g5, or you can play queen a4. You can also just play e3 here and transpose into the Rubinstein. Yeah. So yeah, it's many different ways to play. Bishop goes back on c2. Yeah, basically the point is you force the knight on c6. No, bishop f8. keeping the bishop, and at some point preparing e5. Bishop e2, a6, a3, h6. Yeah, players are just making all their useful moves, and e5 comes in. Now black is just trying to break the center, to try to get some active ideas. Takes. First of all, if you play this move, yeah, now, yeah, d5, b5, very, very complicated, but decide to take. Knight takes e5, rook takes e5, f4. That's a mistake. I think white is just too aggressive. He needs to just get some more pieces into the game. So maybe start with e4. Yeah, now bishop f4, and now rook will go to d1. So knight e4 takes, queen h4, bishop f5. Very complicated, but yeah, then it would resulting position would just be equal here. But instead of trying that, Mardov went for a very, very aggressive idea here. f4. f4 attacking the rook, but that really weakens the position. I don't know if you missed this, but this kind of moves you have to be very, very careful, especially against the top seed and the highest ranked player of the event. You can't just weaken your position. It'll be very tough. And that's what this move does. Bishop f5. Queen b3, rook e7. Can't even castle here because you got a bishop hanging. g4. Knight d4. Now threatening queen takes d2 mate. Now attacking the queen. Queen goes on a2. Yeah, this is not a good position because if your queen is under attack and you have to go to a2, that's not that great. Knight d3. And this bishop is just going to be the nightmare for white's light squares. Everything is just going to be under control of this bishop. This is a very powerful bishop. So yeah, this is pretty much already lost here. Yeah, you can play, maybe you can claim that maybe g5 was better, but queen e8. Yeah. Yeah, nothing is moving here. If you look carefully, this is actually one of those positions, just nothing really moving for white here. The rooks are bishop and knight, nothing. It's f6. Rooks here. Queen f5, queen b4. And here, yeah, position is just lost. I mean, there's just, you're just gonna get mated here at some point, with the idea of taking on c3 and then setting up the queen on e4. Well, threat is now queen e4 immediately. So queen b4 was played, and now perhaps g6 is an option, but then takes. Now rook f1. And back the bishop on g6, and now queen e4 idea, same. Very, very strong. Yeah. But he played queen b4, and that just simply gives up the game, because now, boom, take. Your queen is under attack, so you take back the queen. And queen goes to e4, and simply queen b1 is a mate. And that's why after queen e4, I am Mardov resigned, and the top seed Antipo won a very nice game. So yeah, tough start for the young player, but he's got great talent, and I'm sure he'll bounce back tomorrow. And now we're gonna move up to the next game, guys. We got 2 more games left for this recap video of the GM section. This is actually game between IM Justus Williams and FM Max Gedajlovic. So let's take a look. E4, E5. So we have the Ruy Lopez, bishop C5. Now D3, knight C3, H6. The idea behind H6 is that you don't want to allow the bishop come to G5 and pin the knight. So A3, A6, B4. Playing on that side of the board. Another option was just try to play knight D5. So I don't know if he did that. Now bishop D4, takes. Now D5, trying to break the center. Yeah, I think black is absolutely fine here. I don't see any problems here for Max here. But let's see how Justice is going to put pressure. Knight F4. Oh yeah, bishop E6. That's So the question is, do you need to trade the knights? You know, because you also have a knight C3 tempo there. Attacking the queen. He goes here, and I simply play queen to G5. If takes, we just take back with the H pawn, and it's a very, very nice position, okay? So I don't like this knight on F4. I don't think I want to trade it. But the trade occurred indeed. Bishop takes. Takes. Yeah, now the problem is just, see, you have to be very careful. Once you get a pawn like this, you're just going to be, you know, basically suffering for the rest of the game because it's just going to be a lot of pressure on E6. So that's why it's preferable to do something else maybe, but it looks like, yeah, you have to play knight C3 here. Bishop E6. Is there any other way here? The two bishops are very strong. One bishop is attacking C7 target, another one is just keeping this. Unless these are two very, very strong bishops. And it's very, very difficult to do anything. So I played bishop E6, I guess. Not so many other options. Yeah, rook F6, rook A1. Now it's just going to be pressure. Queen D7, rook E4, bishop G3. Rook F6, rook E1. And now A5. So the question is, black is trying to get some counterplay because there are two major weaknesses, the pawn on E6 and the pawn on D4. So there are two major weaknesses, and that's why move A5 is important to try to create some kind of counterplay. Queen G4, queen here. Another option was just try to play B5. That would have been fine too, to blockade. Bishop G4, G5. Now queen E2, now just rook B5. Yeah, I think black has good pieces here. Yeah, the knight on C6 is very well placed. It's going to be very, very stable, and now the rook is just covering the B5 square, making it difficult for white to play the move B5. So he played G5. That weakens it. Now there's some H4 ideas. H5. Now bishop E5. Yeah, now actually, yeah, this was the key moment here. It was absolutely important to take because you got to get some counterplay, because if you don't have counterplay, you're just going to lose. And here, it's not so clear. Now you have some H3 ideas to open up the position. Yeah, queen f6. Yeah, I mean, roughly equal here. I don't see any big advantage for neither side here. So I think this is just will be roughly equal. So, but Max didn't do this. He played here, and now, of course, h3. Stop all the advances. And queen goes on e2, simply threatening to pick up the pawn here. If you retreat, you're going to pick up this. So again, pushing these pawns, it's very, very risky. It's because these pawns are not going backwards. Then once you push them, you're just going to be stuck with them. So I play queen f6, and yeah, that's just game over. Yeah, so I think the best hope was to take. And I guess I do. Yeah, take. Yeah, now that would just do it. That would seal the game. Okay. Yeah, queen e2, queen f5. Yeah, just takes. And now check and simply game over, because now if you go here, yeah, now and king e8. Yeah, now just simply resigned. I mean, you can even take on c7. Yeah, just take on c7 as well. There's just not enough counterplay. There is just no compensation here. Yeah, after queen f6, there's just completely lost here. It was already very difficult because I even analyzed this endgames and just take g3 or g4, g3. Just open up the position, trying to get outside pass pawn. Yeah, now just these pawns are not going anywhere. King will keep an eye from here too. Yeah, now king cannot cross. Well, yeah, so but that didn't happen, and basically we have a result in this game after queen f6 and just take, and it's just, king is, when you have a rook and a queen, it's very, very difficult to do anything. These are very strong pieces. Again, exposed king, we see the consequences. All right, and the last game of this round, this is a game between I am Stearman against FM, Yasun Timur. Let's take a look. c4, g6. So we have a king's Indian defense. h3. This is interesting. Playing h3. c5. d5. So it transposes to actually a Benoni. This is a pure Benoni here. Knight c7. Yeah, basically it's a Benoni type position, but it's going to be harder to play the move b5 because they're the strong pawns d5 and c4, and they're protecting each other. Queen d2. Now trying to go some bishop h6 ideas. b5. Correctly played by Yesuntemur. He's trying to complicate the position. And, he's got to get some counterplay, because if you don't do anything, rook e1, rook f1, bishop h6, that's, slightly better, but kind of hard to break. But b5 is just going to spice things up. So bishop h6. Bishop c4. Now knight e4, activating the knight, attacking on the queen. And now takes. So we get this position b3, and now black is trying to complete the development. I would say position is about equal. There's a bishop h3 threat here. Queen a5, allowing that. Takes. Ooh, this king is just going to get into trouble now. Yeah, because you have two pieces hanging. Your knight is hanging and the bishop on h3, so you just sacrifice to get another pawn. Now picking up, because otherwise you're going to lose one of the rooks. So this is very important to use this tactic. Queen c3. Yeah, now basically we have 3 pawns versus a piece, so it's not easy. It's not easy to see who is better. I think it's a very interesting playable position. So let's see how it unfolded. Rook ad1, trying to trade. You don't want to trade queens, guys. If you trade queens, the knight will be too strong. Now h5, trying to activate and also control, because these are three connected pawns, but also black has 2 on 1 on the queen side. King g1, queen e5. And again, it's so important to have this pawn here, because otherwise you're just going to lose to this move. Okay, 4. Rook h4. Still, it looks equal, but the game you'll see it's going to end. It's going to end very suddenly, because it's a pretty strong compensation here. And here, again, it's just equal. Just go queen f6. And it's going to be very hard to do anything with the queen on g3, because so a6. Yeah, this would have been the best way to play here. You gotta keep the queens on the board, but I'm not sure what happened. He played quickly this move. Did he forget that the? Yeah, he must have forgotten that there is a king takes, because he only thought queen can take, and then he has a check. And yeah, now I think it's just he forgot that there is a king takes option, because if you go take with this, then you check and take the rook, and now it's just simply lost. Now queen f6, f4, f5. It's a piece. You have a lot of pawns, but it's just they're not going anywhere. Push. d4 check. And now after this, there is a threat. The threat is to take on a7. King h6, and just play rook h8. So I got queen to defend it. And now we need to win the a pawn. The a pawn, if we win, we're going to have very strong pass pawns. So that's why we play the move rook a8. And now simply threatening to take on a7. And black went here, and after queen takes f6, he had to simply resign because of the mate on h8. Yeah, very tough loss here in this game for black, because he's like sort of pushing. He's got the knight is very pinned on h2, and he can create some threats and see if, but yeah, the queen f4. Yeah, this is not necessary. Just a5. I don't think white can really do anything. Even if you create a pass pawn, you're likely to lose it. So a5 was, always decent. It's always better to have a pawn on a5 in this kind of positions. Yeah, now queen g3. Yeah, and then the game simply ends. Okay, so excellent win here. Okay, absolutely. Shout out to Systematic Chess for watching this, and hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a long recap video, so that we cover all 5 games. So every day you're gonna see the new videos of each round. So this is round number 1 of the GM section. Okay. We had very interesting games, actually. A lot of decisive games, guys. We have 4 out of 5 games decisive. That is fantastic. That is 80%, okay? For a GM norm tournament, that is awesome. That means players came here to fight, you know? They came here to fight. They came here to try to get those GM norms, okay? And, very good start. Very good start for the block. Couple of wins for Grandmaster Antipov and Harshit Raja, and very importantly, wins for Justus Williams. You need the wins for the norms. Win for Josiah Stearman. Maybe this could be their tournament. Maybe they will be able to prevail and get that GM norm. But it's a very exciting tournament, and IM section is even more excited. There's so many strong players, and I think we have very, very good chances in this tournament to see some new norms achieved. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that. So thank you everybody for watching this long recap video of this is round one recap for the GM section, and we'll be back with more videos like this for the other rounds as well. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy it, and make sure to subscribe to 1000 GM YouTube channel so you can see all the cool game analysis. Thank you everybody, and see you soon.